Medusa wasn't always a monster, and Athena had a brutal reason for cursing her. Welcome to my channel. Today we will explore the dark truth behind the relationship between Athena and Medusa. We'll discuss how Medusa went from being a beautiful woman to a terrifying monster, the role Athena played in this transformation, and the true extent of Athena's power. In Greek mythology, Athena is one of the most respected and revered deities. She is the goddess of wisdom, courage, inspiration, civilization, law and justice, strategic warfare, mathematics, strength, strategy, the arts, crafts, and skill. But what many people don't know is that Athena was also a fierce and vindictive goddess who was not afraid to use extreme measures to protect her own. And it was this aspect of her personality that led to the tragic fate of Medusa. When looking into the stories surrounding Athena and Medusa, it's important to understand the context of the time in which these myths were created. Ancient Greece was a patriarchal society, and women were often seen as property and were expected to be subservient to men. In this environment, female empowerment was rare and when portrayed, was often demonized. Medusa's story is a perfect example of this. Medusa was originally a beautiful woman who was loved by many, but she was ultimately punished for her beauty and turned into a monster. This myth may seem like a fairy tale, but it's a reminder of the harsh realities of the time. It's a story of a woman who dared to embrace her sexuality and was punished for it. So let's delve deeper into the myth and see how Athena played a role in Medusa's transformation. Long before the events that would make her immortal, Medusa was a young woman who lived among the other Gorgons, monsters with the heads of women and the bodies of snakes. Despite her monstrous appearance, Medusa was actually quite beautiful, and her looks turned the head of many gods and mortals alike. But only Athena remained unmoved by her beauty. One day, Medusa decided to visit the Oracle of Delphi to find out more about her future. The Oracle, however, did not have anything positive to say. Instead, she told Medusa that if she continued down her current path, she would one day become the bride of Poseidon, the god of the sea, and give birth to children who would become monsters. Terrified by this prophecy, Medusa returned home and locked herself away in her chamber. But soon after, Poseidon came to her chamber and demanded that she let him in. When she refused, he used his trident to break down the door and assaulted her. Horrified and disgusted by what had happened, Medusa ran to Athena for help. But Athena, who had always disliked Medusa, saw this as an opportunity to get rid of her once and for all. According to some versions of the myth, Athena helped Medusa escape from Poseidon, but then turned her into a monster to hide her from the god. Other versions claim that Athena didn't do anything to help Medusa at all and simply turned her into a monster out of jealousy. Either way, Athena played a crucial role in Medusa's transformation. But why did she do this? As mentioned earlier, Athena was a goddess who was not afraid to use extreme measures to protect her own. In this case, she saw Medusa as a threat because of her beauty. In ancient Greece, a woman's beauty was considered a dangerous weapon. Men would go to great lengths to possess it, and even the gods were not immune to this obsession. Poseidon's assault on Medusa was not only a violation of her body, but also a threat to her autonomy and agency. For Athena, allowing Poseidon to violate Medusa would be a sign of weakness and a betrayal of her own values. Therefore, she decided to take matters into her own hands and turn Medusa into a monster. It's important to note that Athena's actions were not motivated by pure evil or jealousy, but rather by a distorted sense of justice and a desire to protect her own. In Athena's eyes, she was doing what needed to be done to ensure that Medusa was safe. However, this twisted logic could not justify the cruel and inhumane way she treated Medusa. Turning someone into a monster, no matter how noble the intention, was a terrible thing to do and caused Medusa immense suffering. But Athena did not stop there. She also took away Medusa's ability to speak and turned her into a slave. Medusa was forced to live in a cave, and was only allowed to leave under the protection of a helmet that Athena gave her. The helmet was said to be made from the skin of Medusa's sister, Steno, and it was cursed so that anyone who looked upon Medusa's face would turn to stone. Athena then chained Medusa up in the same cave and left her there to die. But Medusa was not one to give up easily. She managed to escape from her chains and fled to a nearby city. There she met a hero named Perseus, who was known for his bravery and strength. Medusa fell in love with Perseus and asked him to slay her so that she could finally be free from Athena's curse. Perseus was initially hesitant, but eventually agreed to Medusa's request. He went to the cave where Athena had kept Medusa captive and retrieved her severed head. With Medusa's head in hand, Perseus returned to the city where he presented it to Athena as a trophy. As promised, Athena helped Perseus escape from Athena's wrath, and he became a hero of his own right. But Medusa's sacrifice did not go unnoticed. Her sisters, the other Gorgons, were furious and vowed revenge on Perseus and Athena. They attacked the city, but they were no match for Perseus. He used Medusa's head as a weapon and turned the Gorgons to stone. After defeating the Gorgons, Perseus traveled the world, and wherever he went, he told the story of Medusa and Athena's cruelty. Medusa's story spread far and wide, and she became a symbol of female empowerment and resistance against the patriarchy. Her image was used on coins, statues, and other objects, and she was celebrated as a hero. Throughout history, Medusa has been portrayed in different ways, but she is always a symbol of female empowerment. She is a reminder that even in the darkest of times, women can be strong and resilient. Now let's move on to the next part of the video. We've covered the story of Medusa and Athena, but what exactly is the true extent of Athena's power? Let's delve deeper into this fascinating topic. First off, Athena is known for her wisdom and intelligence. She's the goddess of strategy and tactics, and is often depicted with an owl, which symbolizes her wisdom and ability to see things clearly. She's also associated with the olive tree, which is a symbol of peace and prosperity. Athena is also a fierce warrior, and is said to be an excellent fighter. She's the patron goddess of heroes like Heracles and Odysseus, and she often appears in battle to help them out. She's also the protector of cities and is invoked before battles for help. Moreover, Athena is a creative goddess who's associated with art, music, and poetry. She's said to be the inventor of many things, including the flute, the bridle for horses, and the loom for weaving. She's also the patron goddess of several crafts, including pottery and sculpture. In addition, Athena is a powerful healer and is often called upon to help heal the sick and wounded. She's also associated with several sacred places, including the Oracle of Delphi, which was considered to be the center of the world. But Athena's power is not just limited to these things. She's also the goddess of courage, inspiration, and justice. She's the patron goddess of several heroes and heroines, including Athena, Arachne, and Penelope. She's also associated with several animals, including the owl, the snake, and the peacock. She is also the goddess of wisdom and is often depicted with an owl, which symbolizes her wisdom and ability to see things clearly. She's also associated with the olive tree, which is a symbol of peace and prosperity. However, despite all of her positive attributes, Athena is also a vengeful and ruthless goddess who is not afraid to use extreme measures to get what she wants. She's known for her fierce temper and is capable of great acts of cruelty and violence. For example, she turned a mortal man named Erecthonius into a horse because he refused to worship her. She also turned the giant Ajax into a donkey because he boasted that he was stronger than her. Overall, Athena is a complex and powerful goddess whose influence can be felt throughout Greek mythology. She's a symbol of wisdom, courage, and justice. But she's also a reminder of the dangers of hubris and the importance of respecting the gods. Now let's move on to the next part of the video. What is the relationship between Medusa and Athena? As discussed earlier, Athena was not fond of Medusa. She saw Medusa as a threat to her own domain and wanted to get rid of her. When Poseidon assaulted Medusa, Athena could have easily intervened and protected her, but instead chose to watch idly. By later, she cursed Medusa and turned her into a monster. It's clear that Athena's relationship with Medusa was far from ideal. She never treated Medusa as an equal and instead saw her as a pawn in her own game. She used Medusa as a warning to other women and a tool to maintain her own power. In fact, Athena's treatment of Medusa was so bad that it caused Medusa to seek refuge in other gods. Medusa was once described as Athena's special horror. This shows the depth of Athena's hatred for Medusa. However, it's important to note that Athena's behavior was not just towards Medusa. She was known to be cold and distant towards all mortals and even gods. She was not one to make friends easily and preferred to work alone. This may have been because she was a virgin goddess who was not interested in romantic relationships, or perhaps because she felt that she was above such trivial matters. Whatever the reason, Athena's behavior caused her to be feared and respected but never truly loved. Overall, Athena's relationship with Medusa was a toxic one. She was a bully who used her power to control and manipulate those around her. She never treated Medusa with kindness or respect, and instead used her as a tool to maintain her own power. In the end, Athena's behavior towards Medusa was a major contributing factor to her downfall. But what do you think? Do you agree with Athena's treatment of Medusa? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you for watching.